guys, welcome back to the channel. I am Unroyal, I am your below average driver, and a couple videos ago you see me and Unearthly taking the Mustang 302 out for some racing, seeing how well it could do between the two of us. And well, before that I recorded these races and I figured I'd go ahead and show them because they were some pretty good races. So here at what is this? The Loop and Entry, I think this is. The Honda NSX does get around me. He does have cornering ability. I am on sport tires still, whereas I think he's on the soft compound racing tires. And this is one of those tracks where I feel having more grip will benefit more than having speed. But of course, DIY E-King is going to prove me wrong in that aspect for a little bit, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Going through left field and Woodcott. I honestly don't know how you pronounce that turn name. I do have the actual map up. But right now we're going to Copes. It's a pretty good straightaway as of right now, and this is where... Okay, so DIY got behind Ultra HSS, who is in an Integra, and he's going to take it real tight and kind of push me out of the way. I think, I don't know, kind of seemed like it was just a risky move that kind of paid off, kind of didn't. I don't know. You guys in the comments section, let me know what you think. NSX in the grass, mowing some grass. I dipped a couple tires off myself. That gives King there enough time to catch up a little bit for this straightaway on Hanger. And he's going to put the power down and just get right around, almost like I was nothing. Money Bob getting behind me as well. I'm going to try and take this corner as tight as I can. It is called Stowe, apparently, as I am now looking at the map. Going through Vale, you got Funny Bob, that's right next to DIY. I'm trying to go on the inside of DIY. He's blocking it off pretty well, going on the inside again, but trying to keep the line where I can get the best corner exit. Slowly but surely closing that gap, but he is able to hold on just enough to keep the fourth place position there. Now going through Abbey and Farm again, we got Chow Crew in a Toyota Camry by the looks of it, who got around me pretty easily. Now going into Village and the Loop, this little chicane, a little bit of contact between DIY and Shoe Crew, where I ended up having some contact with him as well. I ended up almost going off track there. I wanted to back out of that as soon as I could, that way I don't end up completely ruining his race. Going on the outside of Shoe Crew here, I don't know if he just wasn't ready for me to try to get back on the track, or if maybe I had more room and just did not realize it. I am in a rather wide muscle car, and I tend to forget that from time to time. So, try not to abuse track limits as much as I can, but going through Lewfield, he does go on the inside again. I end up going into him. I'm going to call that more my fault than anything. I mean, it does seem like it was a racing incident, but either way, I did go into him. I didn't see him right away, and I did have enough time to actually back out of that. So, at least that's the way I see it. You guys in the comment section can let me know what you think about that little incident. But going to Maggots and Beggots here, taking it nice, well, not so much nice and slow, but trying to take this as best as I can. I did end up watching a track guide on this track, so I kind of have an idea on how to tackle Maggots and Beggots. Not gonna say I'm the best one at it, but I did manage to figure it out a little bit. Anyways, going down a Hanger straight, going into Stowe. Slowly but surely catching up to Chacroots, but going through Stowe. This is where I really started picking up some time, because it seems like DIY just cannot get the grip needed, and I am going off track there. I do get a small penalty there, 0.7 seconds of a penalty. Well deserved. I did go off track quite a bit, so one of the rare instances where Forza's penalty system actually does work. Getting right up behind DIY right now, showing that I am still here. I am still a contender. Going through Abbey and Farm. Slowly, surely trying to make up some time. I do end up losing quite a bit of time to him on some corners due to the fact that I'm trying to avoid going into him at the same time. He does take these corners a little bit slow. If I were to guess, he's running a bit of a power build through here. And I don't know if that's really the smart choice, but either way, it is working for him so far because he is able to hold the line and pretty much block me from getting around him. Now, I don't know if that'd be more of a defensive way of doing it or just a, I don't want to say a smart way of doing it, but it could just be luck was on his side with where I was and versus where he was. And it was going around Bluefield again after Brookfield, or Brooklands. Going into Woodcott. This is where I started making up some time. I do have the better corner exit by the looks of it. Able to stay on the power. It looks like he had to let off just a little bit in order to keep from going off. Going into Copes. Trying to keep this corner as tight as possible. He does go off into the curbs there. Doesn't go off track at all though, and I think that's where I think he can make up some time is trying to abuse track limits just a little bit more than what he's actually doing. I did watch a replay on this when I went to go get the thumbnail, and it did look like he wasn't really abusing track limits all that much. So if he does have a good amount of grip, that is where he is losing a lot of his time. So anyways, on that hanger straight onto the on the third lap, going into Stowe. I'd start losing some time to him on the straightaway because, like I said, I think he's running more of a power build. But this is where I start picking up the time. But at the same time, I do need 7/10 of a second ahead of him in order to keep that 5th place position from him. And of course, Tactic, he's pretty much out of the race right now. He's almost 8 seconds away. So, anyways, going through Vale, going into Club now. I got the better corner exit. I was going to try and do a switch around on him, but he blocked it off just a little bit, and it kind of had me not distracted, but I was more focused on where he was going versus what I was going to do, so that was more my fault than anything. Going into Abbey, or no, we're past Abbey. We're at Village and the Loop, and this is where I thought I could make a move, ended up misjudging that one by a lot, went into his back bumper, had to back off quite a bit in order to let him keep going. Right on his backside though right now, trying to see if I can't make a move, but I forgot he has a lot more power than I do, so wasn't really able to get him on the straight. I thought here at Brooklands I had more room, but ended up going off course. Went back on, got around him, got an illegal pass penalty, which, in the end of the day, was well-deserved. I did go off track trying to get around him. Didn't manage to get around him, probably because of, probably didn't think I was ghosted right away. Because I seen him jerk to the left a little bit, so pretty sure that was more my fault. But either way, I do get around him, and I do have a 1.5 seconds in penalties, so I figured as long as he's able to keep up, he'll get his position back through that. And it was going through Maggots and Beggots now. He's starting, well, he started catching up, but this is where I started really pulling away due to the amount of extra grip I have. And I'm not going to say I have more skill on this track than he does. Far from it, actually. This is, I don't even remember how many times I've actually been on this track, but either way, on Silverstone, I've been on it quite a few times, but not enough to say I know the track like the back of my hand. Like I said, I did have to watch a track guide on it in order to really get down some of the sections. And so far, some of it's paying off, like for the chicane. Ended up having a really good entry, and I'm now going to have a pretty good exit. It seemed like DIY was desperate to try and keep up through that section. He probably thought I was going to pull away just enough to get around him, but at the end of the day, I wasn't able to. I still had that 5th place position, even though I crossed the line first. But at the end of the day, still a pretty good race. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, heading off to Brands Hatch now. Now, this was a bit of a chaotic race, not gonna lie. We did have Pisani videos in this race as well, and he is actually a really good driver. I think he's based in Brazil, and he enjoys racing a little bit more than I do, so... Also, been running into him a lot, so I have a feeling he's just coming back, and there I am getting spun out by another Mustang. I don't think that was 100% intentional. In fact, I think that was just a really bad judgment call on his end. So, we're just going to go ahead and let that go. Speed this up to when I finally catch up. I didn't see a sorry from him at all, though. So, I have a feeling he just felt bad, or maybe felt it was my fault or something. I don't know. Maybe just server issues, Forza glue. There could be a number of factors. But I did catch up to Jaeger Wars 68 there, who was in the making sandcastles. Going through Sterling's now, slowly but surely catching up to Not Griffin, along with Da 801. He was the one that ended up having a collision with me over on Pilgrim's Rise. I do have this map as well, I have every section name. By the way, getting around Not Griffin, slowly but surely catching you to Da 801. We're gonna see what old school Mustang versus new school Mustang can do. Going into the paddock hill bend, I do end up backing off a little bit, giving him a little bit more room. Going through Pilgrim's Rise, he goes into Druids a little too deep, giving me the advantage to get around him, taking it nice and tight. Now going into Grantham Hill Bend, taking it a little bit faster than what he could. Pretty sure he's on stock tires. I don't think he could put better tires on that and still be in B class. I could be mistaken though, I'd have to go and double check that one. But so far it looks like I'm able to pull away from them pretty well. Yep, so it looks like we're probably just going to go ahead and have to speed this up a little bit. Pisani ended up apologizing for something. He might have accidentally spun someone out. He's normally a really clean driver at the end of the day. Like I said, I've seen some of his videos, I've seen some of his live streams. Really good driver, pretty quick. Kind of glad he's coming into the Forza scene. He is a team player as well, but we do catch up to say Train Colt, who was in the grass there, and now I'm catching up to the Seamus. He's in a Porsche, so he should have cornering ability and everything, but I'm not quite sure what his build is. And it looks like he did pick up a penalty going through Druids, either Druids or going up Pilgrim's Rise. I could be mistaken as far as which one he got that penalty in, but it makes it easier for us to get the number 8 position at the end of the day. And as you can see, we are slowly but surely closing this gap on him. I think by the time I got around Sight Train, he was about 6 seconds ahead. Now we got it down to somewhere between 4.8 and 5 seconds as of right now. Going into Hawthorne Bend, going down Pilgrim's Drop. Right now, I'm slowly but surely gaining time on him, and I didn't think that would happen. I know Ford versus Ferrari was in Ford's favor, but at the same time, that was a custom build. Well, that was the GT40 versus the Ferrari Enzo, I want to say. I could be mistaken, but I didn't think Porsche would lose to Ford as well. Figured German engineering would be a little bit better than Americans, but I guess it all comes down to driver at the end of the day. We got good races being thrown out in the text chat on the screen there. Going through Clark Curve, I start really picking up the pace on Seamus here, trying to really catch up to him. I am back in 9th place. That's where I was before I got spun out in Pilgrim's Rise. The Seamus going off, making some sandcastles once again. I take advantage of it, go around him, taking 8th place right then and there. Going through Druids as tight as I possibly can. I'm kind of overestimating how good he actually is, so I'm trying to push this car a little harder than I normally would, and normally what I'm comfortable with pushing the car in. By the way, going into Surtees here, going around it, he takes it a little tighter, and I end up going off course there. Part of the reason why I don't really like pushing this car too much on a technical track. It is an old school heavy muscle car from 1969 after all, so these things don't really like to turn all that much. And here I am trying to force it on a track that isn't really muscle car friendly if you ask me. But I'm sure other people have their opinions, but either way, keeping up with Seamus pretty well. I'm within his penalty range, so I technically don't have to get around him. But it would be nice to. And he goes off into the grass once again. He had to mow that spot. Speaking of which, I got to mow my grass after I do this voiceover. But he does recover quite nicely. Keeps the power down. Keeps me at bay at the end of the day. This is where I'm learning I probably have straight line speed over him. But he does seem to have cornering as well. At least that's what I assume. But I was able to get the better corner exit. But anyways, going down Brandham straight. I do manage to get around him. Going into Paddock Hill Bend, I do dip a couple tires off into the grass. It looks like he backed off there. He probably didn't know if I was going to spin out or what. Going into Druids now. He is keeping the pressure on, trying to keep up as best as he can. At the same time, trying to give a pretty good race. Try to give me room when needed and such. But so far, I'm able to do a pretty good job at keeping him at bay. Going into Surtees again. Going on the outside, then back on the inside, then back on the outside. I think that's the best way you can take that corner. It looked like in my rear view mirror, he dipped a couple tires off. That's probably why I was able to get some time on him. Anyways, going into Hawthorne Bend. So far, pulling away. Catching up to Mad Carter the second. I do have a feeling that if I didn't get spun out in Pilgrim's Rise, I probably would have had a Mad Carter, or at least done a really good battle with him. But at the end of the day, it is racing. We're on that final lap. Race timer has officially started. I'm probably not going to catch up to him, even though I probably would have been able to if I had another 3 or 4 laps. But like I said before, it is racing. Pretty good race at the end of the day. I think I did pretty good here. I think I got it in the 139.3 if I recall correctly. We will look. Yeah, about a 139.3. Pretty good race, not gonna lie. Like I said, I really could have got up to Man Car, but that probably would have been it for that one. So that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the next and final race. Alright, final race here at Barcelona. Still in the Mustang. Avoiding the chaos right out of the gate. I've been noticing that chaos likes to happen right here in the straightaway, right on lap 1. Kind of like right there where people were kind of just taking the straightaway a little slow. I'm not sure if maybe their acceleration was down or what, but it was not the best as far as trying to get up and going is concerned. Cut this corner quite a bit. Ended up avoiding that sausage curb somehow. Don't know how I managed to do that. I'm only a D-class driver if you want to get down into it. Nissan taking a little bit of a twisty-turvy there. Finally getting around Sick Nick there. And now I'm just trying to get as far away as I can. Little bump there. I think both of us tried taking this corner a little too fast, and by this corner I mean the La Caixa. I don't know, I don't really know the Italian language all that well, so if I mispronounce stuff, I do apologize. But we're going into Banks Spadell Europe, or no, we're at going to Europe car, going to New Holland now. I do apologize for that one. We got a Honda NSX going sideways. He was probably bored of straight line driving, so he decided to add some drifting in it. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Got to get them style points in somehow. Anyways, lap 1 is rather tame for once. Catching up to a Mustang and a Honda S2000. Now, the S2000 is the automatic car for B class. So if we could get around this guy, me and J-Spot, who is also driving a Mustang, a newer one at that, we get around the S2000, that'll make me a little happier at the end of the day. Knowing that those in a Metacar, well, those who abuse the Metacar don't win. But anyways, I'm going to try and get around on the inside of this 2000 Mustang Cobra. Take La Coxa as tight as I possibly can. Executing that move rather nicely. He is going to start picking up on me a little bit here in Banque-Saint-Denis. But I think the Toyota Camry behind him gave him a little bit of too much pressure because he did end up going sideways there just for a little bit. But he recovered real nicely, so going through New Holland now. And back onto the straightaway. I think I'm pretty much in the clear, but I think he also has a little bit of power here because when I started pulling away, he kept up really nice, but he also started catching up here near the end of the straightaway. So going into turn 1, which is completely unnamed. I get tapped on the back there by the Camry there. Going into Worth, I end up taking this corner a little too shallow, where I hit the sausage curb, kick some sand up a little bit, where my car does ghost, and the Toyota Camry does completely take advantage of it. And it looked like J-Spot was going to try and take advantage of it as well, but didn't seem to get quite as far into it as he probably wanted to, so I did have to cut that corner a little too tight. Or at least back off from him a little bit, just to avoid a little collision. Going into Banque-Saint-Denis here again. Hopefully I pronounced that one right. J-Spot still right behind me. Slowly but surely trying to pull away. I think I have corner exit on him, so I don't think he could really get on the gas without spinning out too much. So I'm trying to use that to my advantage as much as I possibly can. Now, back on this straightaway, he is a little closer this time, so he might be able to go for a dive bomb and get around me that way. Breaking between that 150 and 100 board, but that Funny Bob in the Nissan Silvia goes for a complete dive bomb, ruining mine and J-Spot's little battle there. And Funny Bob is going to be right up my backside for this little section here. Going into campsite here. He does go into the side of me. I lose control, go into J-Spot. Luckily, neither of us got the penalty, but Funny Bob, oddly enough, got that penalty. So when the penalty system works, it does work, but it doesn't work all the time. Maybe 10% of the time, in all honesty. But anyways, now he's got 1.3 seconds in penalties. I don't know why he's tapping his brakes there. I would assume that he's maybe on PC or something and he's using keyboard. But even then, I don't know if tapping the brakes is a good idea. Or maybe that's just his way of flashing the lights, getting everyone's attention and saying, hey, I'm trying to stop here. Pay attention to me, I am stopping and stuff like that, but it is what it is. But going down this straightaway again, I'm starting to pull up onto J-Spot here. I have to lock up the brakes because I did miss my braking point just a little bit, but luckily J-Spot missed his as well. And he decided to take a really weird line through here. Like, I know that's the most defensive line you could possibly take, but that seems to be a little too deep on the inside, so really didn't pay off for him in the end. I was able to get around him. Not the quickest, but rather quickly, and he does start losing control there, which helped make it to where I could get just a little bit further ahead of him. Going into La Coxa again. I do take this turn a little too wide, and he does start catching up, but he got a little squirrely and had to back off, which made it to where I was able to pull ahead once again. Probably one of the best battles I've had in this game so far, outside of my few races with Unearthly DNA a video or two ago. But either way, we're going to go ahead and speed up these next few laps, because not really too much happens, and it's literally just me slowly but surely getting away from J-Spot there, due to the fact that I do have cornering ability on him, possibly even experience at that. So By the way, on the straightaway, Shake did make a bit of a mistake there, which allowed me to start catching up. But I have a feeling that if I didn't have to do as much battling with Funny Bob and J-Spot, I'd probably be a little bit closer to him. Because when you battle with people, you do lose a little bit of lap time. At least that's what I noticed. I could be completely wrong on that, but either way, I do start kind of reeling him in. I think he has acceleration on me because he does start blowing away, but Great Toaster also messed up. Going into Lakexa once again. I want to say that was an intentional corner cut because he clearly drove off the track limits there. Didn't get penalized for it though, so a bit of a showing that the Forza penalty system will only work maybe 10% of the time. But either way, going through Europe car and going into New Holland, he does start pulling away. I know I only need to get within half a second, but I think he has a lot more power in that thing than he does grip. So on the straightaway, he just starts pulling away. Finishing the race, coming in, what was that, 11th place? Yep, 11th place, gained 7 positions, 117.599 for the final lap time. That is pretty much going to be all I got for you guys, so if you liked it, please pretend I said something corny here to get you a like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. See y'all later.